Well, many have read my friend Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The Rich Dad, Poor Dad philosophy is very sound, and what Bob Kiyosaki says that there's 4 categories of people. He calls these the 4 quadrants. The first category, the great majority, are employees who work for a salary. Now, people who work for a salary have all their deductions taken off at source. They take the money home and they spend it on their lifestyle, and they very seldom ever get ahead. A friend of mine wrote a book once, and he said, "You never get rich working for someone else. You only get rich working for yourself." However, employee status is where we start. We all have to start somewhere. The second category of people, the next higher category, is self-employed people. These are people who earn their livings from commissions, income, bonuses, fees, and so on. They're what you might call free agents. Many people, for instance, who are contractors or who are computer programmers or who are repair people or even doctors, lawyers, architects, and engineers who work on their own are basically self-employed. In other words, they can only eat what they kill. They can only get money when they're actually working and getting results that they're being paid for. The next level up are entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs are people who have other people working for them. When you start off with your job and you start your own business, you're an entrepreneur in a way, but you only really become a serious entrepreneur when you begin to hire people who can do certain things for you to free up your time to do things that are more valuable. Now, here's the key to entrepreneurship. The whole purpose of hiring other people is so that you can do more of those things that pay you the very most. And you don't hire other people to do things that you should be doing. All right? If your biggest skill is your ability to sell, you don't hire salespeople and then sit in the office behind the desk shuffling papers. So, entrepreneurs leverage themselves, multiply their ability by hiring others to do specialized functions that they're either not good at or which is not a good use of your time. And finally, investors. This is the highest level of all. These are people who put up their own money and can borrow the money of others, and they create wealth or sources of wealth that generate income for them when they're not working. Even an entrepreneur has to be working all the time, but an investor is a person who owns a piece of a business or maybe even owns the whole business, and it continues to generate revenue. When you buy stocks, by the way, you are investing in another company that other people are running. And if they run the company well, you will make money from stocks and mutual fund investments. This is a form of investing. Your ultimate goal in life is to become an investor. However, you have to go through being an employee, being self-employed, and being an entrepreneur in order to generate the revenue necessary so that you can be an investor. Now, here's the best definition of wealth I've ever read, and it is, wealth is income from other sources. You're not wealthy if you make a good living. You're only wealthy if you make a good living when you're not working. If you have to work every day for your living, you may be well paid, and there's a lot of well-paid people who have so many debts and so much debt service and so many payments that they're only 2 months away from homelessness. So wealth means that you have money that is working for you, whether you work or not. Your goal is to move from employee to self-employed to entrepreneur to investor in stages with a plan and with measures or benchmarks on how to get there. So here's some of the basic rules for becoming a millionaire. Remember, if you break the basic rules, it's very, very hard for you to succeed in any field. So number 1, spend less than you earn. This is the foundation of The Richest Man in Babylon, perhaps the most successful best-selling book on financial independence. Spend less than you earn and save and invest the balance. In other words, live on less than you're bringing in. Now, here's an interesting point, and I learned this from one of the smartest money managers I ever met. He said, when we're young, we associate money with pleasure. We get our first allowance and we go and we spend it on candy. And we think that when we have money, we go and we spend it on candy or things that make us feel good. Now, when we become adults, whenever we think of getting a lot of money, our first thought is spending it on something that makes us happy. If you go to a tourist resort where people are on vacation and having a good time, they're just lined street after street after street of knickknacks and gadgets and junk, because people, when they're happy, associate going out and buying stuff. However, what this does is it keeps you broke all your life. So what you do, and this is what he told me, is you rewire yourself. You kind of pull out one wire and replug it in, and you say, instead of saying, I like spending money, you say, I like saving money. And you begin to think of how much you enjoy having money in the bank. how much you enjoy saving, how much you enjoy delayed gratification, how much you enjoy the idea of moving toward financial independence. And when you develop the habit of being happy about saving money, you start to find yourself more and more careful with your expenditures. If you're going to invest, the rule is investigate before you invest. My friend Ken Fisher of Fisher Investment says that 2/3 of all investing is avoiding making mistakes by making the wrong decisions or by making decisions too quickly. So if you're going to invest in anything, the rule is spend as much time investigating the investment as you spent making the money. You'll find that quick investment decisions are invariably poor investment decisions. Only invest in things that you know and understand. Don't invest in somebody else's idea or scheme or business. Only invest in things that you know. Number one rule is don't lose money. Whatever you do, don't lose money. If there's a possibility of losing a little bit of money and you do it, you're probably going to lose a lot. So be very careful. Once you earn the money, hold on to it.
Here is a dangerous thought, and I've learned this over the years. Every so often, if you get financially ahead, you might find yourself saying, well, we can afford to risk a little. Have you ever heard yourself saying that? Well, we can afford to risk a little. Stop. That attitude assures that not only will you risk and lose a little, but you will risk and lose a lot. All successful people never concede or admit that I can afford to risk a little, which means I can afford to lose a little. They say, well, the purpose of entrepreneurship is to take risks. Do you know something? That's totally false. The purpose of entrepreneurship is to make profits. Nobody embarks on entrepreneurship to take risks and lose money. We embark on entrepreneurship to make profits, right? Right? What we do is we mitigate risks. The successful entrepreneur is the person who sails through the shoals of risks in order to get to the profit. The unsuccessful entrepreneur is the one who crashes against the rocks of risk. Your job is not to take risks. Your job is to make profits. And you make profits by minimizing risks. I learned from this multi-millionaire businessman. He told me, he said, Brian, never rush into an investment. He said, investments are like buses on a busy street. There will always be another one along.
The primary reason why you save your money and accumulate it carefully is because it gives you two things. First of all, it gives you freedom. You know you've got money in the bank. If you don't like your job, you can walk away from it because you've got money in the bank. But the second thing it gives you is opportunity. If an opportunity comes along, you're prepared to take advantage of it. You don't have to say, I'm sorry, I don't have any money, I can't afford it, I'm broke, and people just shake their head in pity and walk away. As an adult, you should always have opportunity money put aside. And when you have it, you feel great about yourself.
Remember, if you love something, you set up a force field of energy around it. This force field of energy attracts more of the same thing. Like attracts like. Similarities attract similarities. So if you don't have any money, there's an old saying, it takes money to make money. Well, if you don't have any money, what do? You have nothing there. There's no source of energy. So you've got to get something there. It doesn't matter what it is, you've got to get something there. If it's a penny, you've got to get something there. In the Bible it says, to those that have shall even more be given, but from those who have not, even that which they have shall be taken away. If you have money, and you preserve it, and you take good care of it, to those who have shall even more be given, because they will attract more. To those who have not, even that which they have will be taken away, because they'll have nothing to attract. So here's what you do, is you make a decision. We all want to be financially independent. Is that correct? Yes. And we're patient. We don't expect to do it overnight because we don't expect something for nothing or a quick fix, right? Okay. So what we do is we say, I can't save 10% of my income, but by gum, I can save 1%. You can save 1%. This will constitute a major shift in the way you think about life. But the rule is this. Make a decision today that whatever you earn on a gross basis, you will save 1% and live on 99%.
So here's the second basic rule.
Look upon money as something that has personality of its own. This is important because money goes and stays where it is appreciated. And it flees from places where it is not appreciated. Money goes to where it is loved, to where it is cherished, to where it is respected. It's an interesting point, but you can tell your attitude toward money several ways. But the simplest of all ways is by looking how you treat the money you have. If your money is all in a scramble in your purse or your wallet, it looks like somebody threw up there, and it's all mixed up, and all of the coins and all of the bills are all mixed in a mishmash, it means you're probably not doing very well in life. If your checkbook is misbalanced or mixed up or mismatched, or you've got 2 or 3 different accounts here and there and you have no idea what's in them, if your financial life is in confusion, it means that you don't respect money. And if you don't respect money, money will come by and not stay long. So therefore, you'll find that people who are very respectful toward their money, they carefully work out their checkbooks and their bank accounts. Their money is all very carefully, neatly folded in their purse, wallet, or pocket. Their coins are stacked properly or put in jars, or even better, put into a coin sorting thing and put into the bank. People whose financial affairs are neat and in order are always people who have more money and attract more money than those who don't. And the starting point, by the way, and a lot of people are looking away from me when I say this, if you take a little notebook, like those little spiral-bound notebooks, and you just simply write down everything that you spend over the course of a week, it'll change your whole philosophy toward money. And then as you pay attention to this, begin to analyze it and look at it, you'll notice extraordinary patterns and you won't be happy. And you'll start to see how these patterns can be shifted and changed. And as you shift them and change them, how your whole financial life starts to fall into order. Just by the very act of observing your expenditure patterns.
So the rule is count your pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves.
Number 3.
Once upon a time, when I started my career, I sat down at the end of the year and my tax returns were $14,400. 12 years later, I sat down and did my tax returns, and my tax returns were $1,440,000. I'd increased my income by 100 times, and I went back and I started to look at that, and I realized that I'd used a formula which I gradually articulated into what I call the 1,000% formula. And it's very simple. It's based on the law of incremental improvement. So here's what it consists of. It's very simply this. Each morning, get up first thing, at least 2 hours before you have to be somewhere. So you can invest the first hour, what we call the golden hour, into yourself. And you invest the golden hour by reading something that is uplifting, educational, motivational, spiritual. It doesn't matter, but they say reading is to the mind as exercise is to the body. Here's an interesting point. If you were to get up and read for 60 minutes each day, you would read an average of 1 book per week. 1 book per week would be an average of 50 books a year. Now, to get a PhD at a leading university in any subject, including astrophysics, you have to read about 30 to 50 books and combine them into a dissertation. If you read 30 to 50 books in your field in the course of a year, you get the equivalent of a doctoral degree, whether it's in selling, business, entrepreneurship, or any other field. You will, because you're reading material that's practical, have the equivalent of a dissertation in that you will have blended it into your life. You can double and triple your income simply by reading 1 hour every day. Step number 2 in the formula is make a list of everything you have to do that day. Sit down, make a list. Everything that you have to do, plan your day in advance. Step number 3 is organize your list by priorities. Determine what's most important, what's second most important, what's third most important. Put a number next to each one. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Fourth step is to start on your most important task, as we mentioned before, and work on it single-mindedly with concentration, focus, and discipline until your most important task is done, and then go to task number 2 and do the same thing. Number 5 is listen to audio programs in your car. Turn your car into a mobile classroom. Turn your car into a university on wheels. Now, what is the next step? Number 6. Number 6 is to ask yourself 2 questions after every event. These 2 are what I call the magic questions, and they will change your life. Question number 1 is right afterwards, say, what did I do right in that situation? If it's a sales call, if it's a business meeting, if it's a job application or interview, if it's a negotiation, if it's a meeting with your bank, afterwards ask yourself, what did I do right? And immediately think, and even better, write down everything that you did correctly in that meeting. Because you did a lot of good things. Even if it wasn't successful, you did a lot of things that were right. Second question you ask is, what would I do differently next time? and then quickly write down a list of all the things that you could do to improve that situation the next time you have it. Now, the seventh part of the 1,000% formula is for you to treat everyone you meet like $1 million customer. Treat everybody you work with in life as though they're the most important person in the world. Treat your customers as though they're about to buy $1 million worth of your product if they like you, and if you treat them nicely. And especially treat the members of your family. Treat your children, treat your spouse, treat your friends like they're really important people. This 1,000% formula has been the key to success throughout history. Is you don't make quantum leaps. You don't go from zero to being rich. You don't make easy money or quick money. What you do is you go to work on yourself bit by bit, day by day, week by week, month by month, and your results are virtually guaranteed.
Well, what are the qualities, the most important qualities of self-made millionaires? Number one, top of the list, is honesty. Someone once said that if honesty did not exist, it would have to be invented as the surest way of getting rich. Why is honesty so important? It's because as soon as you go beyond your own resources, you have to borrow money. And you can only borrow money if people trust you, if people know that you're honest and that you've always been honest. So therefore, you dramatically leverage yourself by developing the kind of reputation that people can trust, that people know that if you say you'll do something, you'll do it. If you say you'll pay something back, you'll pay it back. If you have a problem, you let them know, and so on. Now, the second quality of self-made millionaires is self-discipline. Napoleon Hill used to call it the master key to riches. In his interviews of more than 500 of the wealthiest men that America ever produced, he found that self-discipline was the one common quality they all had. It was the one quality that guaranteed their success. And self-discipline is learnable by practicing discipline whenever it is required. The third quality of self-made millionaires is getting along well with people. It's likability. If people like you, they'll want to do business with you. If people like you, they'll want to lend you money. If people like you, they'll want to work for you and work hard. So you find that people with positive mental attitudes, optimists, cheerful, nice people, tend to be far more successful in every area financially than people who aren't. A fourth quality is having a supportive spouse. Now that's interesting. The answer is that when you have a supportive spouse, somebody who stands behind you, works with you, it saves you an enormous amount of energy in life. You don't have to come home at night and fight. You don't have to worry about what he or she is going to say. You don't have to argue. You don't have to go out looking for someone to date and so on. You can take all that energy and channel it into becoming successful. Being single or in a bad relationship is a very time and energy consuming time of your life. By the way, you have all of these qualities already developed to a certain degree. Your job is just to develop them to a higher degree by practicing them whenever you need to. Now, there are several reasons why people don't become rich, and I've broken down the basic 7. And this, again, is the result of exhaustive research. The number one reason that people don't become rich is that it never occurs to them that they can become rich. Now, let me tell you something. You can do it. You can become a millionaire. If you're a millionaire, you can become a 10 millionaire. You can do it. In fact, you should say over and over again, as you think about personal wealth, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Because when you start realizing that you can do it, then the only question you ask is how? What are the different ways? What do I do? When you cross that mental barrier and you realize that yes, if hundreds of thousands and millions of other people have done it, I can do it as well. You can do it as well. So the number one reason that it never occurs to them. From now on, it's occurred to you. Number 2, they never decide to. They wish and they hope and they pray. But here's the rule. Nothing happens in life until you make a decision and burn your bridges and take action. So just decide, I am going to do it, and then take down a piece of paper and write out every single thing that you could think of to do that would help you to become financially independent. Now, the third reason people don't become rich is they procrastinate. Most financial advisors will tell you this is the number one reason. They always have an excuse in their 20s and their 30s, their 40s, always have an excuse, always have a bill to pay, always have a reason why they can't start putting away their money today. Don't procrastinate. Make a decision and do it now. Start saving today. Open a bank account and put in 1% in advance of what you're going to make this month.
There are 4 major obstacles to goal setting. Because everybody's heard about goal setting all their lives. Why is it that everybody doesn't have goals? Here they are. A,
fear of failure. People are so afraid of failing if they set a goal for themselves that they don't accomplish, that they don't set any goals at all. In other words, they set themselves up for failure by avoiding failure. I think it was General Douglas MacArthur who said, there's no security in life, only opportunity. And the only way you can guarantee failure is to be so afraid of failing that you don't try anything at all. So the second reason is fear of rejection. Fear of rejection is people are so afraid that other people will criticize them if they set a big goal, or they're feared that people will criticize them if they set a goal and don't accomplish it, but they don't set it at all. Now here's the key to the fear of criticism. And the key is very simple. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. Give it to yourself. If you set a goal, write it down quietly, share it with your spouse maybe, but don't tell anybody else. Show people, but don't tell them. That way, if you don't accomplish it, it doesn't matter because nobody knew about it. And what happens if you don't accomplish it, you just set the date back, and you set the date back until eventually you do. And then everybody will turn around and say how lucky you are. But don't tell other people. Now, here's the third reason why people don't set goals. They don't know how. You say, well, that's ridiculous. People don't know how. But here's the biggest mistake that we make. It's something that is so important in life, like goal setting. We think they already know how to do it. And I say to my audiences, I've said this for many years, and I'll say it to you, if you really know how to set goals properly, then you must be very wealthy. You must be a very successful person. Because if you're not a very successful person, if you're not doing extremely well in life, then something's wrong with the way you're setting goals. Because people who become accomplished, skilled goal setters inevitably accomplish an enormous amount in life. The great majority of people haven't been taught, and the great tragedy is that the great majority of people think they already know, so they don't try to learn. And finally, the last reason why people don't set goals is they don't understand the importance of goal setting. If you were raised in a family and you were never told at a young age how important, how vital, how indispensable goal setting is to your success, then you would have grown up without even understanding that goal setting was important. If you were raised in a family where people didn't talk about goals around the family dinner table, where the people you went to school with didn't have goals, when you went up to school and the teachers didn't have goals, you could get out of school, as I did, travel, be an adult, move around the world, and never know how important goal setting is. And you know that 97% of the population has no goals? 97% of people do not have written goals. They are just drifting. It's almost like driving down the road of life with your hands off the wheel and hoping that you don't go in the ditch, and yet knowing that it's inevitable. Most people's lives are just a series of haphazard and random events because they don't have goals.
I think there's 7 keys to setting effective goals, and only 3% of adults living today have ever gone through these 7 steps. When you sit down with a piece of paper and go through these 7 steps, you move yourself immediately into the top 3% in our society. And I can promise you this, from 30 years of experience, when you write down your goals using this simple system, you'll start to achieve things that you have never imagined possible before. Now here's the first step. It's clarity. Know exactly what you want. Know exactly what it is you want, irrespective of your current limitations, your current problems, your current responsibilities and obligations. Decide exactly what you want. This is the first and major responsibility that you have as an adult, is to decide what you want as an individual. Second of all, write it down. Write it down in as clear a detail as possible. Use as many words as possible. Sometimes you can write out 3 pages, 5 pages. I've known people who've written 50 pages to describe what their goals would be if they'd achieve them. The more clearly defined your goal is, the more rapidly it is accepted by your subconscious mind, and the more rapidly it begins to materialize in your world. The third step is to set a deadline on it. Be very, very clear about when you want to accomplish it. Be realistic, but even if you don't achieve your goal by the deadline, just set another deadline. If it's a really big goal, 3, 5, 10 years, then set sub-deadlines and narrow the deadlines down from 5 years to 1 year, from 1 year to 6 months, from 6 months to 3 months, 3 months to 1 month, 1 month to 1 week, and so on. And be very, very clear and keep tracking and measuring and tracking and measuring. Remember, what gets measured gets done. The fourth is to make a plan to achieve your goal. And a plan is merely a list of activities. Write your goal at the top of a page in the form of a question.
Say your goal is to earn a certain amount of money. You say, what are all the things that I could do to achieve this income goal? Question mark. And then write down at least 20 answers to your question. Write down every single thing that you could think of doing in the near future, in the midterm future, and the long-term future to achieve that goal. Number 5 is organize your plan in terms of priority and in terms of sequence. Write it out. Break it down. What do you have to do first? What would you do second? What would you do third? What is more important? What is less important? And what are the 1 or 2 things that you could do that if you did them really, really well would make the most difference in helping you achieve your goal? Now, the 6th part of achieving a goal, and this is terribly important, is to ask yourself, what must you be absolutely excellent at doing in order to accomplish this goal? Now, the final step, number 7, is to make 100% commitment to your goal and to take action. And to take action every single day. And no matter how many disappointments you have, no matter how many setbacks, no matter how many times you feel that you're not making any progress, you just pick yourself up, you rededicate yourself, and you resolve to persist until you succeed. In a study done on goal setting and goal achieving in New York a couple of years ago, they found that everybody who set very clear goals and wrote them down and made plans for their accomplishment, and they just kept at them until they achieved them, succeeded. The people who didn't succeed were the people who were either unclear at the beginning or were not persistent enough at the end.
Many techniques can help you to achieve your personal and financial goals faster. I want to share with you a special method that has taken more people from rags to riches than any other single method ever discovered. It is simple, fast, effective, and guaranteed to work if you will practice it. This method I'm going to share with you can actually multiply your talents and abilities and greatly increase the speed at which you move from wherever you are to wherever you want to go. One of the most important mental laws is, whatever is impressed is expressed. Whatever you impress deeply into your subconscious mind will eventually be expressed in your external world. Your aim in mental programming is to impress your goals deeply into your subconscious mind so that they lock in and take on a power of their own. This method helps you to do that. Here's the technique. Get a spiral notebook that you keep with you at all times. Each day, open up your notebook and write down a list of your 10 to 15 most important goals without referring to your previous list. Do this every day, day after day. As you do this, several remarkable things will happen. The first day you write down your list of goals, you'll have to give it some thought and reflection. Most people have never made a list of their 10 top goals in their entire lives. The second day you write out your list without reference to your previous list, it will be easier. However, your 10 to 15 goals will change, both in description and order of priority. Sometimes, a goal that you wrote one day will not appear the next day. It may even be forgotten and never reappear again. Or it may reappear later at a more appropriate time. Each day that you write down your list of 10 to 15 goals, your definitions will become clearer and sharper. You will eventually find yourself writing down the same words every day. Your order of priority will also change as your life changes around you. But over time, after about 30 days, you will find yourself writing and rewriting the same goals almost every day. You will get far greater and faster results than those enjoyed by people who write their goals down only one time. Your results will double and triple and increase 5 and 10 times as you use the same power of goal setting that we have discussed earlier. But now you'll be writing your goals down every single day. There are some special rules that you must follow to get the most out of this exercise. First, you must use the 3P formula. Your goals must be written and described in the positive, present, and personal tenses. Your subconscious mind is only activated by affirmative statements phrased in the present tense. Instead of saying, I will earn $50,000 in the next 12 months, you would say, I earn $50,000 per year. To add power to your daily written goals, put a deadline at the end of each goal. For example, you might write, I earn an average of $5,000 per month by December 31st, followed by the particular year.
Your mind loves deadlines and thrives on a forcing system. When you begin writing your goals, you may have no idea how they will be accomplished. But this is not important. All that matters is that you write and rewrite them every day in complete faith, knowing that every single time you write them down, you are impressing them deeper and deeper into your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind works 24 hours a day, like a massive computer that is never turned off, to help bring your goals into your reality. Almost without your doing anything, your goals will begin to materialize in your life, sometimes in the most remarkable and unexpected ways. All that is required to make this method work for you is to get a spiral notebook and then to discipline yourself each day to write down your 10 goals in the positive, present, personal tense. That's all you need. In a week, a month, or a year, you will look around you and see that your whole life will have transformed in the most remarkable ways. You can multiply the effectiveness of this method with a couple of additional techniques. First, there are 2 times of the day that are ideal for writing and rewriting your goals. These are the last thing in the evening before you go to bed and the first thing in the morning before you start off. When you rewrite and review your goals in the evening, you program them into your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind then has an opportunity to work on your goals all night long while you are sleeping. You will often arise with wonderful ideas for things to do or people to call to help you to achieve your goals. When you rewrite and review your goals in the morning before you start off, you set yourself up for positive thinking and positive acting all day long. Just as physical exercise in the morning warms up your physical body and muscles, reviewing your goals in the morning warms up your mind and prepares you to be at your best throughout the day. You possess and have available to you virtually unlimited mental powers. The average person is unaware of these powers and fails to use them for goal attainment. That is why his or her results are only average. Your ability to visualize is perhaps the most powerful faculty that you possess. All improvement in your life begins with an improvement in your mental pictures. You are where you are and what you are today largely because of the mental pictures that you hold in your conscious mind at the present time. You have been using the power of visualization continuously throughout your life. But the problem is that most people use visualization in a random and haphazard way, sometimes to help themselves and sometimes to hurt themselves. Your goal should be to take complete control of the visualization process and be sure that your mind and mental images are focused continually on the things that you want to have and the person that you want to be. In essence, you control the molding and shaping of your own personality and character by the mental images that you dwell upon hour by hour and minute by minute. In professional athletics, there's a training method called mental rehearsal. Top athletes in every field today mentally rehearse their events before they go into active competition. They see themselves performing at their best prior to every event. For many days and hours prior to a major competition, they practice visualizing themselves performing over and over again. Figure skaters, for example, will play the music to their skating routines over and over again while they sit, deeply relaxed, eyes closed, imagining themselves skating on the ice. One of the benefits of skating in their minds is that they never fall or make a mistake during this process of mental preparation. They see themselves skating their routines perfectly, over and over again, before they actually go onto the ice. By this time, their subconscious minds have been trained to take them through their routines smoothly and gracefully. Your physical body has no mind of its own. The slightest movement of your fingers or toes is controlled by your central computer, your brain. It is your mind that sends impulses of nerve energy down your spine and throughout your body to your muscles to coordinate your physical activities. When you visualize, you actually train your master computer. You program your mind with the performance that you want your body to carry out. There are 4 parts of visualization that you can learn and practice to assure that you use this incredible power to its best advantage all the days of your life. The first aspect of visualization is frequency. Frequency refers to the number of times that you visualize a particular goal as achieved, or yourself performing in an excellent way in a particular event or circumstance. The more frequently you repeat a clear mental picture of your very best performance or result, the more rapidly it will be accepted by your subconscious mind, and the more readily it will appear as part of your reality. The second element of visualization is the duration of the mental image. Duration refers to the length of time that you can hold the picture in your mind each time you replay it. When you deeply relax, you can often hold a mental picture of yourself performing at your best for several seconds, and even several minutes. The longer you can hold your mental picture, the more deeply it will be impressed into your subconscious mind, and the more rapidly it will express itself in your subsequent performance. The third element of visualization is vividness. There is a direct relationship between how clearly you can see your desired goal or result in your mind and how quickly it comes into your reality. When you set a new goal for yourself, your image or picture of this goal will usually be vague and fuzzy. You may have no idea at all what the successful goal will look like. But the more often you write it, review it, and repeat it mentally, the clearer it becomes for you. At a certain point, it will become crystal clear. At that point, the goal will suddenly appear in your world exactly as you imagined it. The fourth element of visualization is intensity. The intensity of a visualization refers to the amount of emotion that you attach to your visual image. In reality, this is the most important and powerful part of the visualization process. Sometimes, if your emotion is intense enough and your visual image is clear enough, your goal will come true immediately. Of course, the elements of frequency, duration, vividness, and intensity can help you or hurt you. Nature is neutral. The power of visualization is neutral as well. It is like a two-edged sword. It can cut in either direction. It can either make you a success or make you a failure. Visualization brings you whatever you vividly and intensely imagine, whether good or bad. For example, worry is a form of negative goal setting. It is the process of thinking about, imagining, and visualizing, combined with feelings of fear and anxiety, exactly those things that you don't want to happen. But, because visualization is neutral, when you worry, you are using this power in a negative way. Exactly those things that you don't want will be attracted into your life. In every area of your life, you can use visualization to make it better. As with goal setting, the two best times to visualize are late in the evening or early in the morning. When you visualize your goals as if they already existed before you go to sleep, your subconscious mind accepts them at a deeper and deeper level. It then adjusts your words and actions during the day so that you do and say more and more of those things that will make your goals into realities. Another time to visualize is first thing in the morning, before you start out. Clear mental images of what you want to accomplish during the day will make it far more likely that you achieve those results exactly as you imagined and on schedule. Start today to flood your mind with pictures of the person you want to be, the life you want to live, and the goals you want to achieve. Cut out pictures from magazines and newspapers that are consistent with your goals and desires. Post them everywhere. Review them regularly. Discuss them often. Imagine them continually. Make your life an ongoing process of positive visualization, continually imagining and visioneering your ideal goals and your perfect future.